What the fucking close you gave?
Oh my god. So E3 was this morning, and there's a few interesting things to come out of the EA conference. What did you like the most, Bob?
I reckon the most interesting thing, excuse me, that I saw was probably Anthem.
Have to be Anthem.
Yeah, and also I was pretty excited for Battlefield as well. I reckon that looked pretty sick.
So there were some interesting things for Battlefield. You're a big Battlefield player, Chicken. Like, what do you think?
I think it looks awesome. I like that they're like sticking with like doing the World War II thing. Like I didn't really like the World War One kind of thing. Like it was a bit.
At least World War II has a
iffy.
bit better
Technology and stuff.
Yeah, whereas like World War II, you can I like the feel of that game. Like
It's a pretty tried and true recipe. You make a World War II game, there's going to be thousands of people who play it.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone is interested in World War II. Like, everyone has that interest.
And they even brought back like the whole like destructibility from like the bad
Yeah,
company 2 days. How you can just literally just drive a tank through a fucking house and it just gets destroyed.
So you can actually drive vehicles through buildings and things like that.
Yeah.
The cool thing is also was the fact that you can attach like the turrets and things like that.
Yeah,
and
you can
move them
attach,
around the
you
map.
can move your turrets around the map and everything looks
Instead
sick.
of having just the one spot where the turret always is, you can move it around.
That's good. That means it's like more tactical and
a bit more realistic as well.
Makes the heavy weapon special worth.
And I also, outside of E3, I saw gameplay for Battlefield that came out like after the press, and it had this guy and he had a hammer and he was reinforcing buildings.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I saw,
like
did you see how they put down the sandbags in front of that?
Yeah.
Like, just before the scene where they attach the fucking turret, there's like, he's put down sandbags. It looks like he's making fortifications.
So
which makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Which is pretty sick, I thought.
Yeah.
So,
really cool.
The burning question would be, what did you think about the mention of a Royale?
Wow. I actually think Battlefield is the perfect game for that sort of thing. Like, I feel like Battlefield, like the new Battlefield 5, it's called, Yeah. Like, it's already a game completely made to a standard. Like, EA and DICE, they make Battlefield, like, pretty polished. So, I feel like importing the Battle Royale game into that game is just going to be great off the get-go, sort of thing.
Yeah. I've played a lot of Battlefield, like, in the past, not so much recently, but I never felt like it needed that.
Yeah, but
because you always had vehicles and stuff.
Yeah,
and like Bad Company 2 was probably one of my favourite games of all time.
That was awesome.
So good, and it didn't have Royale. It just you had to move.
But no other game had Royale then either.
Yeah.
So it's like I see the Battlefield Royale game being the closest thing that we're going to see to an esports ready Battle Royale game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because I reckon, like DICE and EA, they're going to balance everything properly.
100 players per round?
They didn't go into detail. They said they were going to like get into it later in the year.
Yeah.
But it always classically has been 100 players, so you would think that's kind of the standard now, isn't it?
It'll be interesting how they do it with maps and stuff though. Because as you know, like PUBG and like Fortnite maps are quite large compared to, like Battlefield maps are large, but they're a different sort of scale. Yeah. So it'll be interesting what they do if they make like a custom map to suit the Battle Royale, if they're just going to use the multiplayer maps for it.
I wonder if they'll add like the whole, like I know they have it on all the other like games, but like the whole like people running servers as well, like running a Battle Royale as your own. Like server, dedicated server.
I don't think you'd be able to run a fucking Battlefield server on your own home PC though. Imagine the internet cost that's going to be associated with it. Yeah.
Australians don't want fast internet.
No, we don't. Because gamers just clog it up anyway. Not the 4K Netflix.
No. So, other big titles were obviously Anthem. And Unravel 2.
Well, Unravel 2 I wouldn't say it was a big title, but it was something like I've never seen Unravel, the first one, before. But Unravel 2, it looks pretty like fun for a side scroller.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2-player based sort of thing, but you can play single player as well. But it's just one of those like side scrolling puzzle games, really.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. Good art style.
Look at games like Botanicula and Machinarium and everything. It's like a pretty tried and true recipe that works.
Exactly.
People like to play.
No, it looked pretty cool. And the gameplay they showed for it looked smooth as well. Like, you just transition to the one next puzzle to the next sort of thing. It's pretty good.
It's funny because that's the kind of thing that I would expect to see from Square Enix.
No.
More so than EA.
Yeah.
I generally associate with like competitive games and simulators.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know,
They had a lot of sports stuff, which I don't think they had as much as previous years, but they still had the new FIFA.
Yeah, the new NBA and
New
Madden,
NBA,
which
Madden
is going
on
to
PC.
be on PC for the
Yeah.
first.
I would definitely play Madden on PC. I would really enjoy that.
They had this really awkward moment where they had who was
The guy that like the
it
championship.
was the champion guy was on there.
They do like
winning
tournaments
Madden.
for Madden, and he was like, no, he was like told about his story and everything.
Yeah.
He, like
This
he
is so
hated
weird.
losing more than like what was it?
He hated losing more than he liked winning.
And he was like finally won the championship belt, which was like a WWE belt.
And they brought him out on stage, and it was just like, why do I give a shit about this kid's fucking backstory? Who cares?
Like they might be
Like,
trying.
it might be big in America.
They might even be like trying to add the aspect of like
Competitiveness.
like esports and like competitiveness, like of how competitive their games can get.
Yeah. And then they really went on about FIFA as well, FIFA 19.
Yeah, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
Like the last one I played was like FIFA 15, skipped 16, 17, and now I'm playing like 18. And hoping to get another controller so we can like verse each other.
1v1 me scrub.
Pretty much. So.
Yeah, so EA still had the aspect of the sports games, but not as heavily present as previous years, I don't think.
Did you see anything along the lines of Sims, like air flight Sims or anything
sorry,
like that you're interested?
They did like act like the new Sim game, like
Oh, really?
and how like they're gonna add like seasonal bits to the game and like which is another upgraded version of Sims. But
other than that, like EA, like they're a big name, but I feel like they don't bring out as much as what they used to. So
Probably because everyone smashes them for it.
yeah. Oh, what about the Battlefront 2 person came out and he was like apologising for it?
yeah,
The rocky start.
which is really like good of them to as like
That's good.
as people are
to
saying
acknowledge
they're
it.
actually acknowledging that they fucked up.
Yeah.
And like they're doing everything they can to make the game better because they know that they've picked one of the biggest franchises, Star Wars, and have meddled with it, and you need to get that right, otherwise people are gonna hate your company.
Yeah.
So there's going to be quite a bit of Star Wars content coming out.
So they spoke about how they're gonna delve into the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and everyone was real hyped about that.
And
I would love a real dark version. Like I feel like everything Star Wars has been, like targeted at everything from little kids up to people who would have gone and seen the movie.
Nerds.
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's not been anything really dark and gritty.
For the sadistic fucks.
Well, just for the people who Star Wars is such a rich universe. There's so much you can do with it, and even in the movies and things like that, a lot of it's like about smuggling and the bad guys, and you don't really see much of that aside from the Sith.
Yeah.
They spoke about how the map they're bringing out for the Clone Wars, or might have been just a map, is going to be the biggest Battlefront map they've ever brought out, and they've added four new playable characters, which is General Grievous, I fucking love General Grievous, Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Count Dooku. Yeah. But whilst they were like presenting it as well, like just before they presented it, the announcer woman who was in the crowd and found this guy that like
Respawn. One of the Respawn people.
Yeah, and was like speaking to him about it and everything, and he's like, yeah, we're making a Star Wars game too. We've been working with Lucasfilm and Lucas and everything.
Didn't Disney buy LucasArts?
I'm sure Disney owns it.
Yeah, but it's still
LucasArts.
Yeah, and then he spoke about. He didn't really go into it a lot because he doesn't want to spoil the game or anything. But he basically said it's going to be the dark side of when all the Jedis were dying.
Yeah,
he wants to show that off. So
that's the dark, gritty stuff. Bryce and I were talking about it at lunch today. Saying that that's a perfect time to set a game because it means, especially an RPG, because it means that everyone can be a Jedi.
Definitely, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really hyped for Star Wars.
Yeah, they kind of lost me when I bought Battlefront 2, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play this game. It's gonna be real good, and then it's just servers were shit, connection was shit, game was just not the best. It was there, but it was just.
I do give them props for listening to their fans, and doing the Clone Wars and adding the extra characters and things like that.
I feel like EA's got such a background in Sims that they could do a really good Star Wars
simulator.
Yeah, like a Nerf herder simulator.
A Bryce Haley simulator.
But they could do a really good space dogfight sim.
They actually said that they were adding a lot of space fights to Star Wars as well. How they're going to go into getting your own personal vehicle, starfighters and everything. And
that'd be so cool.
That.
You could totally see a No Man's Sky kind of. That's the level that Star Wars should be at, but it's it's not even anywhere near that because everyone keeps fucking it up. Just like all the Warhammer games, they all just keep getting fucked up by people. Dungeons and Dragons is the same thing. Everyone who makes a Dungeons and Dragons game fucking chokes on it.
Yeah, I think it's because there's such a big
fan base, and everyone expects this, and they get this.
But the feel of the press conference was really weird. First it started off with this, who was it? I forgot her name. She was hosting that sort of thing, but she was in the crowd to begin with, and it was really casual sort of thing, and then it went into the proper sort of stuff, and then it came back to her, and it was really casual. It was just a really weird feel.
Felt very laid back and not at all it was all business.
Obviously, it's not a big Microsoft or Sony one. EA is small compared to that.
But EA is still a big player. It's still a big player.
They said some of the EA people did say that they were bringing some more stuff out when the Xbox conference, the Xbox conference comes out. They're going to be doing a few things throughout that.
It sounds like Microsoft sort of told them to ease back.
Or maybe they just all hit the piss too hard last night. They're all a bit wonky.
But it wasn't a bad press conference at all.
Anything else that they had? What about Sea of Solitude? Did you see?
Yeah,
much
they didn't
of that?
Show a whole lot of Sea of Solitude, and the lady who was talking, she had a very thick German accent. So really hard.
There's a few people that had a very the two guys that came out, and the one was it's on the left. He had a weird not a weird accent, but he had an accent. And it was very hard for me to understand.
No, I only found her difficult to understand. But Sea of Solitude, it looks interesting in the way that it's all about. So she was talking about it's all about loneliness and things like that, and the emotions that come with loneliness. So anger and depression and all that sort of stuff. And essentially, the character in it is gotten to the stage where she's so lonely and let her emotions overcome it that she's turned into this monster. And so it's pretty interesting.
It's from what I saw of it, it's EA's version of an indie game. They're the generally the topics that indie games go into, and I thought it was pretty cool to see that coming out of a big studio, and not only that, a studio that doesn't classically dabble in that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they introduced it as one of their indie projects. So it's they call it EA Originals, I think.
Microsoft has their indie
thing. So the first game, one of the first games that was part of the EA Originals was The Way Out. A Way Out. That Prison Escape one. So
I want to play that so bad. It looks so good.
And because of the great success of that game, that sold, I think it was 2 million copies. Yeah.
In the first, had a lot to do with that. 2 million copies in the first 1 or 2 weeks, which is fucking successful.
Yeah. So they're really pumped into the indie game sort of side of things.
It's good.
So yeah, and so Sea of Solitude. It will be good to play, I reckon.
Be my kind of game.
Yeah, definitely.
I think like one of the weirdest transitions they did was when they brought out those two people when they were playing that like game on the phones.
Oh, Command and Conquer Rivals.
Oh, right.
It's like a mobile Command and Conquer. It actually, when I first saw the start of it, I was like, yeah. And then when they were playing it, I was like, that looks pretty fun actually.
They say the games might take up to like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much what you got to do is you got to control points, and if you control the points, it has a nuclear missile in the middle. So you control the points, and you got to hold it until your bar goes up, and then it shoots the missile at the enemy team's base.
Sweet.
And you got to do that twice to defeat them. So it's like strategy in that sense, because you're still collecting resources, still building troops and things like
But
that.
also playing King of the Hill.
Yeah, pretty much. So it actually looked pretty fun.
Well, especially with phones coming out with like bumpers and stuff now, they're a lot more game friendly.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I was a bit iffy when it first came out. But then once they started playing it and I saw how hectic it could get.
It's pretty hard to fuck up Command and Conquer, really.
Like
the only way that you can fuck it up is
reboot
just to put too much storyline in it.
Yeah.
Which is what they did with like Red Alert 2 and that. It was just like too story heavy.
Yeah.
But like the original, I remember playing the original Command and Conquer on PlayStation, and the cutscenes and that in between the missions were just like fucking spot on.
Yeah.
And that was all it needed. It didn't need like, now go over here and touch this and do this.
No. But yeah, it looks like a good reboot for Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, the elephant in the room.
we touched on it.
Anthem. What are your thoughts, boys?
I want to speak about the actual press conference first around Anthem. So they left it till the very end.
Yeah.
And then they had this weird... following the transition. They had this weird Q&A thing set up. So it was 3 of the people involved in the development of it.
I think it was the head
general
manager, and was it the
lead developer? Lead developer.
So this is going to be their new IP. This is going to be their new big thing.
Yeah. And then it had the lady who was hosting it. She was asking questions for him. So instead of just showing like gameplay and talking about it like they normally do, they had this weird Q&A thing.
Yeah.
Which is a bit odd to me. Which I think they did that is just because there's so many questions about the game. Because last year at E3 they only showed like a trailer and had a little bit of talking about it. And that's it.
To be fair, there's still not a whole lot out there about it.
No. So the way the game works is when you're not out in the world and things like that, it's a first person, but it's also just single player as well, which is really weird. They said they did this to make sure they capture the people who want a great storyline to be able to have that without the interaction of multiplayer sort of thing.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so essentially it's like you have your single player storyline, all that sort of stuff in the one like home base sort of thing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then out in the world it's like you can play with your friends. So it's a bit different to like Destiny and things like that. Or
to like Dead Island where you're just dropping in, dropping out.
Yeah. Like Destiny, it's always multiplayer sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it has a section cut off just for single player so that you can have that enriched story. Because obviously BioWare, they want to have that great story.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I reckon that's really cool because if you're sitting at home playing single player by yourself and then someone jumps on there like, hey, you want to go raid? And you're just like, fuck yeah, I'm already on. I'll just finish this.
They spoke a little bit about like the backstory. So you're on a world where the gods have gone and they've left this world like half created sort of thing. And then like there's this thing called the Anthem or something. It was really weird because they said that where your single player thing is, where your base is, that's the Anthem.
Yeah,
but then they spoke of the Anthem as a power or like something like that, like a power that is used to create
Yeah.
world.
It's like the
Yeah,
Allspark.
It's really weird. Yeah, it's really weird.
It's like the Allspark from Transformers.
Yeah, I think people reference it to like light in Destiny sort of thing. It's just like this power that's being used. Yeah. And so there's some bad guys on the planet and things like that. There's
Which
weird
have been
creatures
created.
and stuff. Yeah. Weird creatures and stuff, and essentially it's like you're safe if you're in the home base thing, but as soon as you step out, you have to wear this javelin suit. They call it the javelin, and because the world's so dangerous. Yeah.
With the
Four classes.
So there's 4 classes: Storm, Colossus, Ranger, and Interceptor. So they're all like different play styles essentially.
Yeah.
But the way it is, you still have your one character, but you have the 4 suits to choose from.
Kind of like
So
Black
instead
Desert,
of, yeah,
you just
instead
swap
of
your
like
armor.
choosing. Yeah, exactly. And then obviously the biggest question that was being asked by the community was, are your suits like customizable? And yes, they are. It's
Awesome.
fucking sick. So you can paint jobs. You can even change the size and the shapes of it. So you can absolutely like customize whatever you want.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And I guess it gives them a financial method to keep money rolling.
Well, they did speak about that. So they spoke about like someone asked if there was going to be like
microtransactions
and loot boxes and things like that. And they said there is going to be microtransactions, but none of it's going to be for power. So you're not going to
pay
get
to win.
Yeah, you can't pay to win. And there's not going to be loot boxes. You're going to pay. You're going to see what you're paying for first. So
That's
no
great.
randomization.
That's
anything like
fantastic.
that. So you can buy what you want, rather than buy 100 loot boxes for $100 and not get what you want.
Do you think that in a way could be them getting ahead of the game, like they'd have some info about?
I think it's just EA realizing their past mistakes.
Yeah.
They did say that there's no more loot boxes on Battlefield. They're like, we're cutting that out of that. Like, they're just like, no season pass, no loot boxes. Was the first 2
No
things they
season
said.
pass.
Yeah.
I think it was either season pass or no premium.
Premium, I think it was. So with Anthem, pretty sure they had a release date. Was that the one I saw?
I think it's
22nd of Feb.
Yeah, 22nd of Feb 2019.
22nd of Feb.
So, wonder how many times that'll get pushed back.
I don't know.
That's really
I
good.
feel
That
like
was really
they're pretty
pushed back.
close.
Like Days Gone and that game are the ones that I was waiting for this year, and they're just like,
Yeah.
I know.
New console time.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about Anthem, did you see what happened like the first 10 seconds of the conference where it was all black and they did the countdown and everything, and then this jungle come up on the screen, and this javelin suit came through and it popped through the screen. And it started shooting at something, and
it was
this monster
3D
come through and leaned through the leaned through the screen, and another javelin come up and started shooting at it, and then they flew back to the screen and they went off.
It was
cool. So fucking cool.
So obviously we'll put a link to the press conference in the description.
Yeah.
You can check it out yourself, but
yeah, keep an eye out for Anthem, and I reckon Battle Royale for Battlefield's going to be fucking cool.
I might actually start playing Battlefield again.
Yeebee.
Alright, well that's Lazy Sundays with us, and keep watching for more videos as E3 continues during the week.
So we've got, Microsoft and Bethesda tomorrow, so they're the big ones.
Cool.
Bye. Hey BP, like and subscribe, motherfuckers.